Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Radha Radha Nata Radha Radha Nata Radhe. Jai Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jai Giri Govardhan. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivargacharya Asatasara Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Jaya Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivargacharya Asatasara Srila Bhaktisanta Saraswati Maharaj ki jai. Anantakoti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sari Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Shri Radha Radhanath ki jai. Shriman Mahaprabhu ki jai. Shri Giriraj Govardhan ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Go Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So, dear devotees, today we'll be reading from Nectar of Devotion, and it is titled Happiness in Krishna Consciousness. So I'll read, and as I read, I will try to say something on this Prabhupada's purport. So, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, happiness in Krishna consciousness. Srila Rupa Goswami has analyzed the different sources of happiness. He has divided happiness into three categories, which are: 1. Happiness derived from material enjoyment. 2. Happiness derived from or by identifying oneself with the Supreme Brahman. And 3. Happiness derived from Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada very elaborately describes these three types of happiness. So we'll just read that. In the Tantra Shastra, Lord Shiva speaks to his wife Sati in this way: My dear wife, a person who has surrendered himself at the lotus feet of Govinda and who has thus developed pure Krishna consciousness can be very easily awarded all the perfections desired by the impersonalists, and beyond this, he can enjoy the happiness achieved by pure devotees. Happiness derived from pure devotional service is the highest because it is eternal. Happiness derived from material perfection or understanding oneself to be Brahman is inferior because it is temporary. there is no preventing one's falling down from the material happiness, and there is even every chance of falling down from spiritual happiness, derived by identifying oneself with the impersonal Brahman. It is being a scene that great Mayavadis, impersonalist sannyasis, very highly educated and almost realized souls, may sometimes take to political activities or to social welfare activities. The reason is that they actually do not derive the ultimate transcendental happiness in the impersonal understanding, and therefore must come down to the material platform and take to mundane activities or mundane affairs. There are many instances, especially in India, where the Mayavad sannyasis descend to the material platform again, but a person who is fully in Krishna consciousness will never return to any sort of material platform. However alluring and attracting they may be, he always knows that no material welfare activity can compare to the spiritual activities of Lord Krishna, of Krishna consciousness. So, dear devotees, we see here that Prabhupada is explaining that these Mayavad sannyasis who engage in worshipping the impersonal aspect of the Lord, they fall down, and in that they resort to material welfare activities. So they do welfare activities or philanthropic activities that pertain to the body, right? And like they may distribute food, build hospitals, and so many other things, right? But we see that we also, in Krishna consciousness, we also distribute food, right? We give food to the needy, but there's a difference between the food prepared by devotees and the food prepared by the impersonalists, because they do not offer their food to God. They do not offer the food to Krishna. Krishna states in the Bhagavad Gita, Yagya Siddha Sana Santo Muchante Salbi Kilbishe, that devotees of the Lord eat food that are first offered to Krishna, and they are released from all kinds of sin. But those who eat food for their own sense gratification verily eats only sin. So in this way we see that the food that they are distributing is not spiritually surcharged, but the food that we eat and we distribute is spiritually surcharged, so much so that a common man who takes to eating prasad, his consciousness evolves, right? Because he's eating the spiritual food, and this is the mercy of Krishna, right? Prasadam is the mercy of Krishna, and when he eats that, then his consciousness evolves. Sometimes, people out there, they may not understand spiritual topics, but when they eat Krishna Prasadam, then it becomes very easy for them to understand spiritual topics. So in this way, our food distribution is different from those people who are just can come out from within his eyes. Simply by his will, he can perform such wonderful activities. Right. So, the highest perfection of mystic power is called Kama Vasayita. That is also magic, but whereas the Prakamya power acts to create wonderful effects within the scope of nature, Kama Vasayita permits one to contradict nature. In other words, to do the impossible. Of course, one can derive great amounts of temporary happiness by achieving such yogic materialistic perfections. Foolishly, people who are enamored of the glimmer of modern materialistic advancement are thinking that the Krishna consciousness movement is for less intelligent men. I am better off being busy with my material comforts, maintaining a nice apartment, family, and sex life. These people do not know that at any moment they can be kicked out of their material situation due to ignorance. They do not know that real life is eternal. The temporary comforts of the body are not the goal of life, and it is due to the darkest ignorance that people become enamored of the glimmering advancement of material comforts. So, these material comforts, we see it all around us, and we know people who are enamored by materialistic lifestyle. So I won't speak much about that. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has therefore said that the advancement of materialistic knowledge renders a person more foolish because it causes one to forget his real identity by its glimmer. This is doom for him because this human form of life is meant for getting out of materialistic contamination. By the advancement of material knowledge, people are becoming more and more entangled in the material existence. They have no hope of liberation from this catastrophe. So I'm trying to finish this section. So let's just read on and see what Prabhupada has to say. Actually, a pure devotee does not aspire after any of these perfections because the happiness derived from devotional service. Shri Shri Radharadhanatha ki jai, Shriman Mahaprabhu ki jai, Shri Giriraj Govardhana ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I'll just read that again. Actually, a pure devotee does not aspire after any of these perfections because the happiness derived from devotional service in Krishna consciousness is so transcendental and so unlimited that no other happiness can compare to it. It is said that even one drop of happiness in Krishna consciousness stands beyond comparison with an ocean of happiness derived from any other activity. Thus, any person who has developed even a little quality of pure devotional service can very easily kick out all other kinds of happiness derived from religiousness, economic development, sense gratification and liberation. So yes, the devotee, because he is engaged in devotional service and he feels this ananda within his heart, this bliss within his heart, he doesn't care for all of these things, materialistic things, which are materialistic religion, right? Economic development, sense gratification and liberation. So there's much that can be said on these things, but I just want to comment that, sometimes devotees engage in devotional service, but they may not feel happy. Why? Because, of the offenses that one may cause. Because we're coming out of this material world, right? And we come with such contamination within our hearts and with our minds, and like this. So there's so much of contamination, and we are not pure devotees and cannot become pure devotees immediately. It is by the gradual process, by gradually performing devotional service and removing all the anarthas from our hearts, that we can actually feel this happiness within the heart. Right? Obviously, if we do engage in some sort of devotional service, this happiness will be there. But if we commit aparad or we commit offenses to devotees, then this happiness will go away. And they say that the face is an index to the mind, right? So basically, when you look at a person, and you see the moroseness of on the face, and then you know that there's something that's troubling that person, that's some things that's not right, and the things that is bothering that person may be going through some difficulty in his spiritual life. So not everyone in Krishna consciousness will feel this happiness. So sometimes you may commit offenses and you may not beg forgiveness, and and this is or you may not forgive another person also. So this also, your Krishna consciousness is stifled. It cannot grow. This bhakti lata beej cannot grow. So we have to forgive and forget. So I was listening to a class by Gaur Gopal Das, and he was saying that there's 3 types of forgiveness, right? And the first type of forgiveness is called exoneration, where someone commits an offense and you forgive them because it may be an accidental mistake, and it's very easily forgiven like that. So so that you can forget and forget. You can forgive and forget. And he says another one is that falls in this category is of a child. A child may commit offense, and you may not take it so seriously. And he says that actually sometimes adults have to be treated like children because they do not know any better. And in this way, you can forgive them because you teach them what's right and what's wrong. And and he says the next person that falls in this category is a person who is drunk, right, intoxicated, or has some mental illness. You can easily forgive that person and forget, right? So so a person who is not in his senses, basically, when he's drunk, he is not in his right senses because he's intoxicated. So in this way, you can forgive a person like that. And then he comes to the other one, and he says that another person that falls in this category is that if a person commits an offense and he's remorseful, and he sincerely begs forgiveness, and he's genuine in his blessing and in his commitment, and he's genuinely regretful. So in this way, you can very easily forgive a person like that. And then he talks about the second category, which is forbearance. So a person may apologize for his mistake, and he may say, but I know I've committed a mistake, but part of it was because of such and such, or was because of you were part of it, and that is why, so he may beg for forgiveness, but he may hold something back. So Prabhu says that you may forgive, but keep an eye for that person because he may commit the same mistakes again. So you keep an eye on that person. You forgive, but don't forget. You keep an eye because he may commit that offense again. So the next category he calls is release, right? And he says that this is in extreme cases, right? Not because they deserve to be forgiven, but because you deserve peace. He says that a person may commit an offense, right, that is so atrocious that like child abuse and between spouses. There may be so many things that goes on that's unforgivable, like cheating and this whatever, right? And he says that you may forgive them, not because they deserve to be forgiven, but because you need that peace of mind and peace of heart. Your heart needs to be cleared of this contamination of not forgiving. So he says you can forgive them, like from a distance, you can forgive them, but because you deserve that peace. So if somehow you cannot approach that person because if you didn't because you do not, because if you do and you forgive, they will somehow or the other, whenever the opportunity arises, they will commit the same mistake again, right? Because their minds and hearts are not completely free from this contamination, right? A person may be not a devotee, right? So in this way, because it may be like a family member who is not practicing devotional service, and they commit an offense to you, but they do not know that committing an offense to a devotee is maha aparad. They do not know that, but they may do it anyway, right? And so you may forgive, but always remember that because you want peace of heart and peace of mind, that you forgive this person, right? So, and because sometimes you may ask for forgiveness, you may beg for forgiveness, although you may not have committed any aparad or any mistake, and the next person sees whatever the situation is as an offense, and you see it as not an offense, but you still forgive, you still beg for forgiveness. Why? Because of humility. And so this character of humility and forgiveness is quality of a devotee, is an ornament of the devotee. To be humble and to be forgiving is an ornament of a devotee. So Krishna becomes very pleased when you develop these qualities, right? Trinadapi sunichena tarapi sahisuna amanina manani dena kirtaniya sadahari. That we should try to be more humble than a blade of grass, tolerant as a tree, right? So in this way we can actually chant the holy names of the Lord continuously. This is the verse, and that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given, that we should become humble so that we develop good qualities. And devotees, I just want to make this point, that if somehow or the other we do not forgive the next person, right, then we have to come back in this material world to actually clear that slate. So we don't want to come back here. We need to forget, develop this quality of humility, and go back within this lifetime, go back home, back to Godhead, because whatever attachments and whatever unleft or unfinished business we have in this world, we have to come back and finish that off. So as long as our minds are clear, our consciousness is clear, we can easily attain to the spiritual world. And so actually forgiveness and humility is our ticket back home, back to Godhead. If we do not cultivate this, then we cannot go back to the spiritual world. So we'll just continue reading now. This is a very nice pastime. There was a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya known as Kolovecha Sridhar, who was a very poor man. He was doing a small business selling cups made of leaves of plantain trees, and he and his income was almost nothing. Still, he was spending 50% of his small income on the worship of the Ganges, and with the other 50%, he was somehow living. The Lord Chaitanya once revealed himself to his confidential devotee, Kolavecha Sridhar, and offered him any opulence he liked. But Sridhar informed the Lord that he did not want any materialistic opulence. He was quite happy in his present position and wanted only to gain unflinching faith and devotion unto the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya. This is the position of pure devotees. If they can be engaged 24 hours each day in devotional service, they do not want anything else, not even happiness of liberation or becoming one with the Supreme. So just relate this pastime. It's a very nice pastime. Kolavecha Sridhar, he would sell leaves and cups, made of banana leaves, right? And whatever income he would get from that, which is not much, right? He would use that 50% for himself and his family, and 50% he would use it for the worship of the Lord. So, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would go and visit him and would tell him, Sridhar, I want some cups and leaves. And Sridhar will tell him the price, and Mahaprabhu would say, no, I cannot afford that. You are such a rich man, and you're charging me so much. So I cannot afford that. And then Sridhar would actually reduce that amount, and still Mahaprabhu would say, no, it's too expensive. I cannot afford it. And eventually Mahaprabhu would steal it, and he would run away. And in this way, Sridhar would run after him and chase him to, get the cups and plates back. So we see that this was like a very beautiful pastime between the Lord and his devotee. So when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was having his Mahaprakash Leela, and he called for Sridhar, Sridhar, where are you? And eventually, the devotees went and they got Sridhar. They brought him to the Lord, and the Lord Lord Chaitanya revealed to Sridhar, his actual position as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The way that Sridhar used to worship him, and Sridhar, he was like overcome with ecstasy just by seeing Lord Chaitanya, in this form. I think it was of Narayan, right? And he was so much in so much of ecstasy just seeing the Lord that he fell on his, at the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya, and he started to glorify him. And in this way, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked him, Sridhar, now you can ask me for anything. Whatever you want, I will give you. And Sridhar said, no, my Lord, all I want is pure devotional service at your lotus feet. So in this way, the Lord awarded him pure devotional service like this, and at the end of his life he went back straight home, back to Godhead. So we see that this devotional service is so wonderful that devotees they are not enamored by materialistic things, because devotional service is so satisfying to the heart that no material opulence can actually satisfy the devotees' hearts, right? So we have a few more minutes. I'll just finish this purport, and then we can take some questions and comments. In the Narada Pancharatra, it is said that any person who has developed even a small amount of devotional service does not care a fig for any kind of happiness derived from religiousness, economic development, sense gratification, or the 5 kinds of liberation. Any kind of happiness derived from religiousness, economic development, liberation, or sense gratification cannot even dare to enter into the heart of a pure devotee. It is stated that as the personal attendant and maidservants of a queen follow the queen with all respects and obeisances, similarly, The joys of religiousness, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation follow the devotional service of the Lord. In other words, a pure devotee does not lack any kind of happiness derived from any source. He does not want anything but service to Krishna. But even if he should have another desire, the Lord fulfills this without the devotees asking. Right? So, devotees of the Lord, they do not ask the Lord for anything. We find most people coming to the temple and they pray before Krishna, give me this, give me that, the other. But devotees don't ask the Lord for anything. Or even if you have some materialistic desire, you can ask the Lord and He will fulfill it, but He'll purify you of that desire as well. And He'll bring you to the level of pure devotional service. So this is the purifying process of devotional service. Right? So, akama sarva kama va moksha kama dharati trivyena bhakti yoge na bhajatet jayatet purusham param. So, in this way that it is being described that whether one is full of material desires, have no material desire, or desiring liberation, by all means he should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because a devotee, if he has this material desire, he can ask the Supreme Lord, and the Lord will award him that material desire, but purify him of that desire as well. Like we see in the story of Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj, he had this material desire that he wanted a kingdom bigger than his father's, or grandfather's, right? But when he saw the Lord, he said, what I was asking for broken pieces of glass, now I have achieved the diamond. I do not need this material desire anymore. So we'll stop there. We have 10 minutes left. So if there's any questions or comments, we can take now. Ram Vijay Prabhu, you can say something. Get the mic.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for that nice reading from Nectar's devotion and all the examples you gave. It's really, really nice. And this topic is really so relevant to us. Happiness in Krishna consciousness, happiness in devotional service. I mean, this is the reason we take to Krishna consciousness, because we think we'll be happy. No one will do anything if they think they're not going to be happy doing it. So it's good to be reminded and know that, if we aren't happy, then we are doing something wrong. We are not doing something correct. But definitely we should be happy in Krishna consciousness. And, these examples that Prabhupada gave and that you read really remind us and inspire us to focus back on that happiness, that this is what should motivate us. And this is what we should be doing. And really, our happiness lies in Krishna's happiness. That's essentially what devotional service is. Prabhupada mentions in that second canto also, that the devotee's happiness is in making Krishna happy. And that's how we are happy. Actually, he was saying, there were three things he said. He said that the gross materialist, he wants to become happy by enjoying his senses. The impersonalist, he wants to become happy by becoming self-satisfied. But the devotee wants to be happy by making Krishna happy. Actually, the devotee doesn't want to be happy. The devotee just wants to make Krishna happy, and his satisfaction comes like that. And that's the unique opportunity we have, that all we have to do is make Krishna happy, and everything is sorted out. So we don't really have to aspire for happiness, but Krishna naturally, makes us happy from his own satisfaction. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for that. So just by pleasing Krishna's senses, then, our senses become purified, and also we become happy by making Krishna happy. So we do everything for Krishna's satisfaction and not for our own satisfaction, right? So, anything else from anyone? Yes, Prabhu, in the back. Hold my. Can I?